Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Talkin Cinema with Mike. Today my guest is voice actress Katelyn Gault, and today I will be talking to her about the magic and power of voiceover work. So let's get started.
Yay!
Hello Katelyn, nice to have
Hi.
you on the show today.
Hi, Michael. It's nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
So what voice over work do you do? Do you do like movies, TV, video games? What's your
Okay.
field?
I mostly I do a lot of dubbing work, which I can explain in a little bit, but have you heard of anime? So Japanese
Yes,
shows
I
that,
have. I had plenty of high school friends who are into that.
right. So I do some of that, localizing it or dubbing it into English. And then
Oh.
I work in video games. I do a lot of voiceover for video games. Um, and I also direct video games. I direct the English voiceover for a lot of Japanese games, and I'm trying to get into more Western video game. I'm trying to get in with more companies that do Western video games to do those. And then I do some commercial work and some industrial work, and not a ton of animation, honestly. I haven't really uh, gotten in with a lot of those studios yet, but fingers crossed, we'll see. But mostly video games and anime is what I work in.
Oh, actually, just this morning, like of English dubbing, I was watching the movie My Neighbor Totoro, and I was watching it with the English
Hmm.
dubbing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the original language is Japanese for that. I've never seen that actually, but yeah, it's an interesting process because when we get into the booth to record an anime or something that needs to be dubbed into English, we'll get to preview what they've already done in the original language. And a lot of the time, I'll have a couple screens, one that'll have the original with the picture that I need to match like mouth flaps for. And then I'll have another screen with the script in front of me. And so it's this kind of weird dance of having to look at the script and then look up at the screen and watch the preview that they play and then look at the script and try to kind of like it's like patting your head and rubbing your stomach at the same time. And so it takes a little while to get used to it.
Right.
Yeah. But it's fun. It's like a puzzle. It's like a fun puzzle trying to match the mouth flap of a character that I'm playing with the script and make it, and then also add the performance. And so it's a lot to think about all at once, but it's
Oh.
fun.
What other famous voice actors have you worked with over the years?
Other famous voice actors I've worked with. I mean, it's funny, right? Because there are famous like celebrities that also do voiceover work, and then there are a lot of voiceover actors that are really well known within the voiceover world, but they may not be like commercially well known. Um, I have I have worked with uh, I don't know if you're going to know who he is, but one of my favorite people to work with who has also done VO for a very long time is Fred Tatasciore, who did a lot of VO as the Hulk. And he's been in a million things over the years. He's probably got a 30 or 40-year career going. Another one I've worked with before I've gotten to direct is Bob Bergen, who is the voice of Porky Pig, which is really fun. Um, so I mean, those are the two that come to mind first and foremost. But yeah,
Like I know a couple. Like one of the most I think famous voice actors out there is his name is Rob Paulson. Have you ever heard of
yeah.
him?
I don't know Rob. I know of Rob, but I don't know him personally. But yes, Rob Paulson is definitely um,
Yeah,
definitely well known.
he's been doing voice acting since like the 1980s.
Mm-hmm. He and like Jim Cummings is another one. Jim Cummings does a lot of the voices for Disney.
Um,
Um,
Frank Welker, you ever heard of him?
Say his name again.
Frank Welker.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. Frank Welker does a bunch of creature work and yeah, those are the names. I've never worked with Frank though, but I do know of him.
He was the voice of Megatron in the original 80s Transformer cartoon.
That's right. That's right.
What would you say are like shows or movies that like have like really like impressive voiceover work?
Wow. I mean, gosh, there's that is a very open-ended question. I mean, I love all of the voiceover that they do in all of the Disney movies. I think they do a really good job there. Um, I actually didn't see it, but I heard that Scarlett Johansson's work in Her, she plays an AI voice in Her,
Yep.
was really, really impressive.
She's the
Um,
voice of the what was it like the thing
I
that
only
watched.
ever saw the trailer. I heard so many times that that was like, an incredible
Yeah,
voiceover performance. Um,
he
oh my
was.
gosh. I mean, all of the cartoons I grew up with, like Doug, and I was born in the 80s. I was a 90s kid. So I watched Rugrats and Doug and I mean obviously Looney Tunes and all of those. For me it was Tiny Toon Adventures was what I
Right, that was like one of the most popular cartoons of the 90s.
yeah,
I do my research a lot, Caitlin.
that's
um,
awesome. That's
yeah.
good.
Actually, speaking of like 90s cartoons, recently Kevin Conroy, who was the voice of Batman and Batman the animated series,
Yeah.
recently passed away.
I know. I saw that on Twitter. A lot of the people I never got to meet him or work with him, but a lot of my friends did and
Yeah.
um said he was lovely and there was a really, really big outpouring. It on
Yeah, really
Twitter
like
is where I get a lot of my news from like the voiceover community because there are so many people that are on there. But yeah, it's such a shame. It's such a
a
shame.
lot of like diehard Batman fans were really like disappointed to hear that. And his voice on the animated series in the 90s, because a lot of like DC super fans consider it like one of the best like DC shows because it was like a children's cartoon, but it was also like really dark and serious at times.
Right. I
And
did.
growing up,
Mhm.
did you watch it like back in the day when you were growing
I
up?
only saw a little bit of it back in the day, but I do remember because that was the one where is that the one where Mark Hamill is the Joker?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, and talk about great voiceover performance. I mean, gosh, he did it for so long and he's incredible too. But I didn't watch it regularly, but I did see snippets and episodes every now and then. And yeah, it did have a really oddly like dark edge to it for being a kids show, but I kind of appreciate that. I think sometimes we don't have to, play down to children. I think they can handle more than we give them sometimes. So I appreciate that.
Um, like some like recently, like I think some of the best voiceover work like is in adult animation.
Oh yeah.
Like one of my favorite shows it's on Netflix is Big Mouth.
Dang, I haven't seen Big Mouth, but I was gonna say Archer and Rick and Morty are two shows that I think are hilarious and have great
I've
voice.
seen like I binged like the first season of Rick and Morty and then I stopped like in the middle of season two, but I just remember like I heard like Rick and Morty's like what like in its sixth season now?
Yeah, they've
And
been doing it for a really long time. And
I
fun.
hear nothing but good things about the show. Like I heard it's just nonstop hilarious.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely hilarious. It's God and Justin Roiland, I believe, does both the voices for Rick and Morty, and it's always crazy to me to hear or to watch it. And I don't know if I know the studio that he records it at because I record there for certain projects too. And some of the engineers have talked about working on it, and it's just a hoot. Like he'll drink, he'll have a beverage so that he can actually burp as Rick all the time. So they'll do like a take where he doesn't burp through the whole thing, and then they'll do take
Yeah.
where he has enough carbonation where he then will belch just through the lines, but which I think is hilarious.
So you
But
can get the teriyaki dipping sauce.
yes, I know, I know. I cannot believe that McDonald's like re-released the like Mulan like Szechuan sauce
Really? Just
because of
because
Rick
of
and Morty.
that?
Oh yeah, because Rick and Morty called them out and they were like, "All we want is this sauce that was like released in the 90s," and they like brought it back. I don't know. It's what a phenomenon. But Rick and
Like,
Morty, it's I think it seems like it's a really irreverent, just kind of like fart jokey cartoon, but then when you really start to watch it, the stories that they build and the arcs that they build for the characters are actually really good. And so it was a surprise to me because I reluctantly watched it. I was like, I'm not gonna like this show. But it is far smarter than I thought it was going to be. And Archer's just fun. Archer's just a fun show too.
what's he, like a spy or something?
Yeah, so H. John Benjamin plays him, and that's also the voice of Bob's Burgers. Bob from Bob's Burgers is the same guy as Archer. Um,
Oh.
yeah, he's a spy. He's basically like James Bond, only he's kind of an asshole. Not
Oh.
that James
Is
Bond
he
wasn't.
like a is he like a suave ladies man who drinks a lot or something?
Yes, exactly. That is exactly what he is, and his mother owns the like oh God, what the agency, the spy agency that he works for, and then it's all about the different people that work in that office, and then the spies that also work alongside him. But it's incredibly irreverent, which is probably
Yeah.
why I like it, and really fun.
And then like another like because Caitlin, I actually do like some of my own voices too. Like I'm not a professional voice artist, but like ever since I was probably like 13, 14, like sometimes I would watch like a cartoon and try to do like a character's voice.
Yeah.
Like one show that this is probably like I think this is like the funniest like adult anime show of all time is South Park.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like I have been doing Cartman's voice since I was probably like 15 years old.
Are you gonna do it? Do you want to give me some Cartman?
Okay. I'm trying to think of a funny line because he's like,
Oh,
um,
something about Kyle. He always just says Kyle. Yeah.
but Cal, why can't you invite me to Casa Bonita? Because all you do is insult me for being Jewish. Well, fuck you, Cal. I don't need to go. I want to go to your birthday party anyway. Kiss my balls, asshole.
Yes. Yes. Oh, Cartman. Yes. I
And
absolutely
did you
grew up watching.
notice that like his voice changed from like the first couple seasons, and now it's like different now
You
when you
know,
watch?
I totally believe you. I haven't noticed that, but that tends to that can happen a lot with voiceover because I think if it's a new show and you're established, like it's even happened to me just a little bit with a couple of the shows that I've worked on, where you'll start season one, right? And you're like, okay, this is the character, this is what we're doing, and you'll start in like one part of your voice, one part of your register, and over time, maybe because you come to find out more about the character, or maybe it's sometimes because they don't realize that like the voice has shifted a little bit. It can do that. But as a director, that's something that I really try to listen for. When we run sessions, I will always start by saying, okay, let's pull in reference from either an audition that the actor did, or a previous session with them, so that we really make sure we're establishing the voice in the same pocket, right? Because yeah, it can. I think with South Park, it's like you've got the creators also working, doing the voiceover, and they're wearing so many hats that I don't know that there was somebody there to really monitor and say, hey, I think that shifted a little bit, we need to go back and
Yeah.
listen to what we did before. It's a really easy thing to not to it's not like a huge mistake, but it's an easy mistake to make.
Like Kaylee, what they do with like recording the South Park voices, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, who are the creators of the show, and they do a bunch of the characters.
Yeah.
Um, like Trey does Cartman, Stan, and Stan's dad Randy, and like Matt Stone does like Kyle, Kenny, and Butters.
Right, right,
So
right.
when they're recording, they do this thing. They talk and like they do the voice, but then they have to like they use like a special microphone that makes it sound like like they're 10-year-old boys. Like it's a special
I didn't know
feature.
that.
Yeah, they record, like they do like their impression or like their special voice for their character, and then like
Oh,
they do some technical voice stuff and they do something over it, and then for like the final print, it's they have because they have to make them sound like kids because they're adults voicing
right.
kids.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that. So educational for me. Thank you for that. But sometimes depending on the character, they will in post is what we call it, the post production of something, they'll modulate the sound of somebody a little bit. Or let's say I'm supposed to sound like a robot or an AI, they may put a filter over that to make me sound more like a robot. But I'll lay down, as an actor, I'd lay down like the bass track for that, and then they would be able to play with it. Um, but on the subject of adults voicing children, a lot of the time, because men, it's difficult for men, especially to voice young children. So a lot of the time, women will be the voice of a young boy. A lot of the time, I'm asked to play young boys because as I don't really know why. I think just a register thing where our voices sit. But
You
a lot of
can't
the time, little
like
boys are
on
voiced by women most of the time, which is
like
interesting.
Bart on The Simpsons is voiced by a woman.
Exactly. Yep.
Or like
Exactly.
there's this other show on Netflix that I watched called F is for Family.
Okay. I haven't seen that, but
It's good. There's
mhm,
they're filmed in the 70s, and one of the
mhm.
sons is actually voiced by a woman.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, like I didn't even
All
you
the
didn't
time.
even,
Jimmy Neutron was Debbie Derryberry, who I've just worked with.
Timmy Turner on Fairly Odd Parents, that was a girl
hmm
too.
hmm Yep. Yep. Happens all the time.
What are like some different kind of like microphones that you use when doing your voiceover work?
So I'm pretty good with tech. I am not the ultimate authority, but I will tell you about the microphones I own that I can use. Uh, so there are a couple of microphones that are really standard that I see a lot in studios. One is called a U87. It's a condenser microphone. I see that a lot for. I think they use it a lot in animation. A lot of the time in video games, we'll use that one. Um, it's by the company that makes it is called Neumann. And that same company makes one called a TLM 103, which is a similar mic. I also have that one. I find that one is good. It's kind of like the all-purpose mic. Like I think it's good for commercial work, and it's also good for animation. There's another microphone that I really love using because I like how my voice sounds recorded with it, and it's a Sennheiser 416. And I do not quote me, but I think this is right. I think they used to use them on sets as a boom mic um, for to record the actors and the
Yeah.
sound. And it's a shotgun mic. And I really like using it. A lot of the time they'll use it for commercial work. It kind of just has an intimate sound to it. I think that's why I like it. It's not very roomy. It's a little bit more intimate. I often work on, so Netflix has a lot of content, right? Has a lot of foreign shows that are made outside of the US. And when they release them, they need to be dubbed into English. And so I've worked on a lot of those, dubbing some of those actors, dubbing them, those characters for the English dubs. And a lot of the time they'll use a Sennheiser 416 because it's a boom mic. And so it replicates kind of being on set, which is great for live action stuff. So
How many takes does it do to like do like a scene for something like in a voiceover studio?
how many takes? I mean, that's a loaded question. I mean, it varies, right? Because sometimes as an actor, it's different for acting and directing. But as an actor, sometimes I'll nail it on the first take, and that's what they'll go with. And other times it'll take, I'll do a lot of the time, depending on the type of project I'm working on. Let's say it's a video game, and I have a line that I'm recording. A lot of the time, the director will say, "Okay, give me an A and a B take," and that just means I get two shots at it. And so they're going to open it up and they're going to record, and they say, "Okay, rolling." And so then I record two takes of that line. And then either the director will be like, great, I liked the A take, we'll go with that. I'm going to select that. Or sometimes they'll be like, all right, I liked the A, but I really liked this part of the B. Maybe, and if it's just something that they can splice together, the recording engineer can splice together, they'll be like, I'll do a combo of your takes. Or they'll be like, hey, Katelyn, I liked your B take, but could you just be a little bit happier? Or can you give me a little more energy? Or they'll give me a little adjustment, right? And then they'll say, okay, we're rolling. And then I'll do another one. And sometimes they'll be like, hey, we're going to roll for another 2. Give me another 2 takes. And then I'll give them another 2. And then either they'll adjust me again, or they'll take one of those. It just depends on how tricky the line is, how particular the director wants to get about it. There are a lot of variables that play into how many takes we do. Also, how much time we have, some projects we have all the time in the world because it's a big budget, and we can spend a lot of time on each line, and so then it can be a lot of takes. And other times they're like, we don't have a lot of time to get this recorded, so you're going to give me 2 takes and I'm going to pick one. And I think it behooves actors to really be on when they come in if it's going to be like that, because you just don't get a lot of time to play, unfortunately. But hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. What made you interested in voice acting? Like what was the start?
Well, that's a long one. But I will tell it. So I when I was a teenager and a little kid even, I did a lot of theater. I did community theater, and then in school I did show choir. That show Glee that came out, that was kind of like high school for me. I was in Glee. And so I did show choir and I did drama class, and then I eventually auditioned and got into the BFA program for theater performance at Chapman University, which is a school here in California, in Orange, California. And I got my BFA in theater, and then I came out to LA and I went, I don't know what I'm doing. Like so many people. And I did a little bit of theater, got involved with some theater companies, was trying to do the on-camera thing to varying degrees of success. And eventually I met my friend, Kyle McCarley, who was a voice actor. And he was like, hey, you're trained, like you're a trained theater actor. Why don't you try voiceover? And I was like, no, I don't do a bunch of funny voices. I don't do that. And he was like, well, that's not all voiceover. It's not all Looney Tunes. Like there's a lot of different areas and facets of voiceover. And it's really, at the end of the day, it's just about acting. Are you a good actor? And I said, okay, fine. So reluctantly, I started auditioning for roles and started booking roles, and kind of more or less fell into it and realized that I was good at it, and then realized that I enjoyed it, that it's a really having to create a performance with only your voice. There's a lot of limitations there, but I feel like it also opens up a lot of opportunities to figure out how to convey certain emotions, or how to use your voice to really create an entire character. And like I said before, I think it's kind of a fun puzzle. And then after that, I just have not turned back. I just kept going. And eventually was asked, I was recording a video game at a studio that I work out frequently. And there was something was going on, and the client, so a lot of the time, if you're recording a video game, somebody from the company that's producing the video game will be there. We call them the client. And there was a woman there, and she was the client, and we were on a break, and she was upset about something. And I didn't know what it was, but I just came out and, I was like, oh, hey, what's going on? And she was really upset and crying. And I kind of just like, I sat with her and I was like, hey, it's going to be okay. It's just a video game. Like we're not curing cancer. Like, it's okay. You don't need to be upset. So I had this conversation with her, not realizing that there was the head of the studio was listening to me. And so he came to me later and he was like, hey, I think you should try directing. And I was like, no, again, reluctant. And I was like, no, I don't know what I'm doing. But then he was like, no, I think you do. I've watched you work, and you seem like, I know that you could handle working with different personalities and working with a client. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll try. And then I did, I tried, and I, again, never looked back. I just kind of fell into it. And I think, you know, it's not just about the creative aspect. It's also about, whether you're the actor or the director, I think it's about coming in and having a good attitude and being able to work with a lot of different personalities and being able to create an environment that's really comfortable and positive, so that we can get the best product, possible. That's kind of my story in a nutshell. That's how and now that's what I'm doing now.
Would you ever want to like do like a voice for like a minor character, like Rick and Morty or something?
Oh my God, yeah. Oh my God, yeah. Yes, of course. Those auditions don't come around that much. The issue with animation a lot of the time is, and it's neither here nor there, but a lot of the time they'll bring in celebrities to do a lot of the roles. Even the bit parts are celebrities a lot of the time. And so it's hard to get, and I'm not a celebrity, it's hard to get auditions for those roles, because they usually just hand them out to people. They don't really audition them. And I have a great agent, I really do. And I do get a lot of auditions for some of the bigger animated series, but it's a competitive world. And you can do a great job, but ultimately there's so many things that go into casting, and all you can do is just record the auditions, send it off into the ether, and forget about it, because more often than not, you don't book it. And if you do book it, then great, that's awesome. But I try not to agonize over auditions. I just try to get them done and then go, okay, it's over.
Like just last month there was a new season of Big Mouth that dropped on Netflix, and they got like a bunch of celebrity guest stars. Like they got Jeff Goldblum and Tyler the Creator. It was crazy.
Totally. No, I mean, it happens in Big Mouth and Rick and Morty and Archer, and a lot of them are on camera actors as well that come and do that. Or, I mean, Disney also hires, a lot of Broadway stars to come in and do stuff. And also, like, the Pixar movies are usually a bunch of celebrities as well. Every now and then you'll see just like a regular voice actor in the cast of something small, but it's usually somebody like, like a Frank Welker or a Jim Cummings, or, like, it's usually somebody who's got a really established resume. Unless they're looking for something really specific, and then it pays off to be, to have a really unique, either a unique voice or a unique quality. I don't know. It's casting's a crazy world. I do not do much of it. And when I do it, it is very hard. Casting's very hard, I think. Because there's so many good people. There's so many good people that you want to give the role to, and you can't, and it's only one person. And so when I've had to be involved in casting, a lot of the time I'll just have to give like a short list. Like, I'll listen to a bunch of auditions from everybody who's submitted for a role, and I'll give whoever's going to make the final decision, I'll give them like 5 or 6 people that I'm like, all of these people are amazing. All of them could do this part. You choose, because I cannot, because I want to give it to everyone.
So Katelyn, are you about my podcast? Have you like listened to them?
I have not listened to them yet. I'm so sorry, but I did get the scripts that Ann sent me. For now, are they commercials that you do during the podcast, like sponsor commercials? It seems like they are.
Yes, they're sponsors that Ann and I came up with when we first started planning the podcast.
Rad. Yeah, I see one of them is for Nike, right? And then the other one is so sweet, is for raising money for the people of Ukraine, which is awesome. Very different spots. And so you do these, right? Have you recorded these ones?
Yes, I have. Ann records me, and we try to like incorporate them with the movie that I'm talking about with the guest.
Awesome. Oh, so is it? Did you review Rocky for the Nike one?
No, that was just something I came up with.
Okay. I think it's funny. I think it's really cute. It kind of it harkens back to a commercial. I mean, the commercials that I do nowadays are a little bit more understated. They're not they're not quite as like, they don't have as much like oomph all the time. But I mean, I love your spots. I think the Nike one is really funny. And I think the Ukraine one's really sweet.
The Nike commercial, like you should see the one like I did for the Little Shop of Horrors one with my
Ooh.
uncle Dan Stone, who's another friend of Ann's.
Mhm. You did one for Little Shop?
Yeah, I that was the film I chose to have the podcast with him for.
Nice. Cool. Very cool.
Michael, why don't you do it for her?
Yeah.
Oh, my Nike commercial? Okay.
Yeah.
I have to pull it up on my phone.
Yeah. Show me what you do with this. I know what I would do with this, but you show me.
I'm very energetic. Ann knows this.
I love it. I mean, there are a lot of exclamation points in this copy, so I would assume that you would be quite energetic with it.
Okay. Hey guys, ever wanted to run a marathon? Ever wanted to run up the stairs in Philadelphia like Rocky? Ever wanted to be first place for running track in school? Well, now you can, thanks to Nike shoes. This special sneaker will give you the power and swiftness you need in order to be the fastest man on the planet. Order now and show those losers what you're made of.
Nice. It feels like an 80s commercial to me for some reason. Like it feels like it would be like playing in the background of like an episode of like For Now. I mean, obviously this was not made in the 80s, but it feels like something that you would hear in like Stranger Things, like in the background, like on like an old radio or something. I don't know why, but that's what it's reminding me of.
When I like to do a commercial period, I always try to make it sound like something old, like an 80s one, or like one of those like old like 1950s, maybe like medicine or toothpaste commercials.
Totally. Yeah. No, I love it. I love how you wrote it too. I love all the questions up top, kind of give you that build, and then you can turn it on the, well, now you can, thanks to Nike shoes, right? Like it's very, it does feel like that. Great job.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You want me to do it? Okay.
Sure, Caitlin, go for it.
All right. This is my take on it. Hey guys, ever wanted to run a marathon? Ever wanted to run up the stairs in Philadelphia like Rocky? Ever wanted to be first place while running track in school? Well, now you can, thanks to Nike shoes. This special sneaker will give you the power and swiftness you need in order to be the fastest man on the planet. Order now and show those losers what you're made of.
Nice job, Caitlin.
Thanks.
Hey guys, you want to be able to see that new movie on time? Well, now you can thanks to Nike shoes. These special sneakers will help you be able to get to the theater as fast as lightning and make sure you don't miss a single second of it. Order now.
Fun. Can I hear you do the Ukraine one?
Sure.
Great.
So guys, I've recently been taking a look at certain devastation throughout the world today. One of those is the ongoing struggle for the people of the Ukraine. The people there have been struggling, and they need your help now more than ever. You can help by logging on to donate.amnestyusa.org and giving those poor people what they need. Thank you.
Nice. Good job. One more time, Michael. And I want to say, sorry, I go into director.
can't.
I love how you shifted your tone. I love how it was really coming from the heart, right? Because it's really, it's
important.
Yeah, you know, when I do a lot of commercials. I did a campaign for Mount Sinai during COVID, when the pandemic was really strong. And anytime I record something where it needs to have a lot of heart, I put my hands here, right? Because I feel like how we hold our body a lot of the time will really affect how we deliver
Yeah.
voiceover. You want to try it one more time for me?
Sure.
Cool.
The Ukraine has been under severe devastation for quite some time. People are losing their homes and going hungry, and we need to help put a stop to it. Log on to donate.amnestyusa.org and donate now in order to help those people get through this difficult time. Thank you.
Job. That's awesome, Michael. So cool that you're like, I mean, I don't write copy. And so that's awesome that you're writing your copy and doing a podcast. It's really impressive.
I like do my own voice acting, and sometimes like I practice like my own acting. Like I would watch like a scene from like a movie or TV. I would like reenact it like in my room or something.
I used to do that when I was a little kid. I used to, because I didn't have any, I have older siblings, but none of them were like my age, or even close to my age. And so I would sit in front of my mirror sometimes and I would try to reenact certain scenes from movies that I really liked to like, I don't know, watch myself or figure out how they were doing what they were doing. Like I was very curious about it. So I totally relate.
Do you remember any of those movie scenes you used to do when you were growing up?
Oh yeah, I loved when I was really little, there was a new version. I know it's not the original version of The Parent Trap that came out with Lindsay Lohan. And when I was a kid, I loved that movie and I loved Lindsay and I thought she was really great. And so I would try to do scenes from that movie.
For me, like back in like 2019, like a movie I would like rehearse a lot, like in my bathroom mirror, my bedroom mirror, would be Joaquin Phoenix's performance in Joker.
Oh, that's intense. That's an intense performance.
Especially like the scene I like doing a lot is the one at the end when he's the clown and he's on Murray's talk show.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the scene that I think, and many people agree, won him his Academy Award.
Yeah. I mean, definitely.
Because
I mean,
like
the performance overall was striking, but yes, that scene in particular certainly sticks out.
Because the point, like by that point in the movie, you can tell that Arthur is just like done with dealing with all people around him. He's kind of like, and if you've noticed, like throughout like a certain point in the movie, like since like he like killed the three guys on the subway, Arthur pretty much killed everybody like who did him wrong in his life. Mm-hmm. His so-called mom, played by Frances Conroy, the guy who used to work with as a clown, and then Murray, he shot him on live TV in front of his whole studio audience.
I know. It was really, I was very shocked by that. Yeah.
And a lot of people say this, like, that's the most dangerous person. Someone with nothing to lose is considered the most dangerous kind of person.
100%. 100%. And yeah, I thought that movie did a really good job of diving into the psyche of that character that we know so well. It's interesting to give him motivation that we had never really seen before, because it had always just kind of been the Joker's just the Joker. The Joker just does stuff because he's the Joker, right? And so to give him more of that backstory and that trauma, I thought was really interesting.
We understand him, like, and here's another thing people say: as kids, we like the heroes, but as adults, we understand them.
Yes, gosh, and yeah,
because everyone has a reason for everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, as kids, they're just scary to us, but as adults, I think we can start to see the human elements of them and what motivates them and what, I think we develop empathy for them. They're certainly my favorite to play. I would rather play a villain than a hero.
I know, right? Because like some of my favorite movie characters are like villains and anti-heroes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can consider like, Arthur Fleck as an anti-hero, I guess. I mean, like if you think about it, he didn't like just kill random people. He just basically killed the people that made his life miserable.
Right. I don't know. That's a really I think it depends on your perspective. I could see people making an argument for him being an anti-hero because of that, because we understand as the audience why he's done what he's done. But ultimately, he is a villain because he's killed seemingly innocent people, right? So you could make an argument for each, I think.
Caitlin, what would you say is the best part of being a voice actress?
The people that I get to work with. I get to work with really wonderful, creative, fun people, and we get to joke and laugh and have a good time and work on some really, really beautiful scripts. And it's fun to be able to be a part of bringing a character to life, bringing an animated character to life. I absolutely love it. That is what I would say is the best part. The people and being able to work on really beautiful scripts. That's my favorite.
Thank you for coming on the show, Caitlin.
Thank you, Michael. It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for stopping by, Caitlin. Tune in next week where we have Kathy Moon and we discuss what it's like teaching film. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.